Every year, at the end of the year, I like to take some time to simply reflect on how I think that the year that just passed went. And it just helps me to start the new year on the right foot. In case you're new to this channel, I make videos related to career change, and motivation. So if you are someone who in 2020 is planning to make a big career change, or there is something really important that you're trying to achieve in your career, then this channel is for you, and you might want to consider subscribing. The year is almost over and most people fall into one of these three camps, and please let me know in the comments which camp you fall into. Number one, you think that the year turned out better or even much better than you expected. Number two, you feel that the year ended worse than you expected. And number three, no comment because you didn't really have any expectations to begin with. Whatever you're feeling at the end of this year, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral, that will certainly carry on into the new year. So what is it about the turn of the year? In reality, it's just a change of numbers in the calendar, right? But the way that you think about the year that has just passed can actually influence how the coming year will turn out. If you know anything about the stock market, then you must be aware how share prices are often not always a reflection of the fair value of a company, but rather a reflection of what shareholders expect of it in the future. And it's the same with the new year. The way that the next year will turn out will partly be influenced by your expectations. And your expectations in turn are influenced by the way that you view the year that has just passed. If you think that this year was a great year, then it is likely that you go into the new year feeling hopeful. But if you think that this year 2019 was a crappy year and you can only remember all the bad things that happened this year, then it is likely that you will start the new year on the wrong foot and maybe go into it feeling a bit wobbly. But it is what it is, right? Or is it not? The problem is that we don't always have an objective view about the things that happen in our lives. We tend to get fixated on the most recent things. So if we don't take the time to do a conscious and balanced review of the year, then we are not likely to have an accurate view of it. If at this point you're thinking about making New Year's resolutions, then you might want to check out my other video that I'm linking up here, where I share with you about what my take on New Year's resolutions is and why I think that it is more important to do a year-end review first before tackling those New Year's resolutions. So let's start now. This is my guide on how to do a year-end review to help you to start the new year on the right foot. Take a piece of blank paper in portrait orientation. And if you feel that your handwriting is on the larger side, then you might want to take 2 sheets of paper and tape them together. Then make 4 columns, with the first one being the smallest. Divide your sheet of paper into 5 rows for the areas in life that matters most to you or things that you want to improve on. Make the height of the row in proportion to the importance. If relationships are especially important to you compared to other areas of your life, then make that row bigger than the others. If you think that all areas have the same importance to you, then make the height of the rows the same. In my case, I chose the categories work, career, finance, relationships, health, and spirituality. It can be different for each person depending on which areas in life are important to you. For example, you can write family instead of relationships or friendships and so on. Or if you have just started a home business, you can put home business instead of career/work. The point is that these are areas that you can influence, that you can take action on. Write in the header of the first column, 2019, what happened. This is to remind you to write down the things that you consider wins and fails in this area, or positives or negatives. This forces you to confront the reality of what is happening in that area of your life. Then write one-liners, one-sentences about things that happen in that area of your life. You can choose to break down that area further depending on what you want to pay attention to in particular. For example, in 2019, YouTube was a special focus for me, and that is why I put a separate row for YouTube here. When you start writing, you might notice that you actually have a lot more to write than you thought, but try to stick to the space. focus on the most important or most significant things. This review is meant to be short so that you don't have any excuse for not doing it. It is always better to do a short and brief one than none at all. You can always expand it and do a more thorough one later on if you want to. Now write down 1 to 4 items in each category, and after you've done that, put either a plus or minus sign in front of it, representing whether it was a win or a success, or a fail or a loss. And remember that the things that you write down here should be things that you feel you had an influence over. I'll share with you some of the things that I wrote in my personal review. Under work and career, I had a separate row that I titled YouTube, in which I wrote that I made and uploaded 70 videos. Actually, it's going to be 75 or almost 80 by the end of the year. And under finances, I wrote that I kept my finances in good order. And under relationships, I wrote that I spent quite some time chatting with my brother and also did a video call every other month. That was a plus. And as a minus, I put that I didn't spend as much time talking to my parents as I originally wanted. In the area of health, I wrote as a plus that I managed to keep a healthy weight, but as a minus that my sinuses flared up 1 or 2 times because there were some weeks where I didn't really get enough rest. After doing this, I move on to the next column, which I title Contributing Action, Habit, or Mindset. Put an A for action, an H for habit, and an M for mindset. Later on, we will mark each of our entries with one of these. For example, in the first column under YouTube, I wrote, I made and uploaded 70 videos, 75 by the end of the year. And in the second column, Contributing Actions, Habits, or Mindsets, I wrote, mindset that I can improve my skills through repetitions even though I don't see the immediate result. And correspondingly, I marked it with the letter M, which is mindset. Or in the area of finances, I wrote finances are in good order. And in the second column, I wrote constantly reviewed, organized, and optimized my finances. And correspondingly, I put an H for habit in front of it because I observed that this was a good habit that I had this year. This review is an action-oriented review. So rather than feeling like there were events that happened to you, you are taking ownership of the things that happened this year. And of course, there are a lot of things that happened to us in our lives in 2019 that were totally beyond our control. And that is why in this review, we should only include things that were a result of our actions, habits, or mindset. Or at least things that happened that we contributed towards. So after completing the second column, we have 1 column left. And let's title this Motivators. If you look back at the second column, now you can look back at a list of all the habits, actions, and mindset that you had in 2019 that contributed to many of the events happening this year. While some of them are things that I don't want to repeat in 2020, there are a lot of things that are actually quite motivating and that I can be proud of. So read through all these items and pick 1 or 2 things that are particularly motivating to you. For example, in my case, I found one thing particularly motivating, which is the mindset that I can improve my skills through repetitions even though I do not see immediate results. So this is a mindset that I definitely want to hang on in 2020. And after you finished, you got your own 1-page personal review of 2019. A list of the most significant things that happened in 2019 in the most important areas of your life, along with a sidebar containing a list of motivators. And the reason why I think that this year-end review is something really valuable is that the motivation that you get from it is something that relates directly to your own life. You kind of distill your own motivational quotes from your own life. It's not a motivational meme that you get from someone else, and it's not a cheesy motivational quote on a poster that you get in a bookstore. For me, the motivation for the next year will come from the concrete realization that I've actually made over 70 videos this year, and I know that was as a result of my mindset that I knew that I could improve my skills by doing repetitions, making videos over and over again, although I might not see the immediate result in terms of view count and subscriber numbers at this current moment. And most important of all, by making this year-end review, which covers the most important areas of my life in a very brief way allows me to get a more proportionate view of my life. Many people tend to think that other people's lives are better than theirs, and if you want to know what I think about this, you might want to check out my other video that I made on this. After you've made your year-end review in a realistic and honest way, you might get a sense that 2019 really wasn't that bad at all, and in fact, it was actually pretty good, and there are a couple things that you can be really proud of. And although it might not be all roses and sunshine, but at least you've got yourself a realistic view of 2019 that is not distorted. No matter how you think that 2019 went, at least you have this overview of all the good and bad things that happened, and that will hopefully help you to start 2020 on the right foot. At least you know where your starting point is. So let me know if you did your own year-end review and what you thought of this. Also share with me in the comments if you have your own way of doing your year-end review that you find to be more effective. I would be really curious to know. I really hope you enjoyed this video and that it was useful to you. Don't forget to check out my channel because I have tons of other videos on the topic of career change, and also motivation and mindset. It was really awesome to have you guys around. I wish you awesome New Year's Eve celebrations, and I hope to catch you again soon in 2020.